What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another week of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about a couple different topics. We're going to be talking about Knights of the Old Republic, or Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Embracer Group is having issues, and it's we heard issues about it not being made, and it's being delayed, and it's not being delayed. Well, now Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is dead, so we'll talk about that. We're going to go into where's the other topic we have? We also are going to be talking about Immortals of Aveum launch, the layoffs, the future plans, and Xbox Game Pass, everything from the actual company. Ascended Studios CEO talks about the game, so we'll talk about that. And then we're going to watch a video from Comeback Kids that I happened to come across. It was in my timeline this weekend, and it talks about why gaming is just not fun anymore. And it's about a month old, so we're going to go over that. We're going to watch it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and stuff. I watched the first, I don't know, 3 minutes, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop watching this, and I'm going to watch it on stream with you guys live, and we'll talk about it. So what's going on, chat? What's going on, Ghost Fixer? Eclipse, Soups, Z, what's going on, man? How's everyone doing? Hope everyone had a good weekend. Those are going to be the topics that we talk about today. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday. This week, it's Monday through Wednesday because we have Thanksgiving on Thursday here in the States. So I will be out of town. But we will have content all this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There is no podcast either Thursday morning or Thursday evening, so GXG is off this week. I am trying something new. I took a clip, or actually a segment, from Generation X Gaming Podcast from Thursday night. I uploaded it. It aired today at 9 o'clock. So let me know if you guys like that. I just basically took the Suicide Squad segment, which was at the very end of the podcast, and I made it into its own little separate video. It's GXG Thoughts on the topic of Suicide Squads. So if you guys like that type of stuff, let us know. People hitting that like button, interacting with the videos, lets me know if it's worth continuing to make those videos or even break those videos out for you guys to watch. What's going on, Rose? RPG, what's going on? So let's get started. Is the music pretty good? It's like soft, right? Soft in the background. It sounds like it's okay for me. I just want to make sure it's coming out okay for you guys. What's going on, Water Bear? Water says, don't gain too much weight this week. I need to tell myself that. Luckily, I'm in the gym. You know, it's funny, Water, that you say that. I was just having a conversation. I was having a conversation yesterday with a friend that's visiting inside of town. And I was telling him how I was, gaining weight. I lost 5 pounds, right? I was pushing almost 200 pounds. Right now, I was pushing 198. I was at 198, almost pushing 200. Now I'm down to 192. And I'm trying to get into shape. I'm trying to do a little bit of things here and there. I'm not going to the gym like I probably should. But I gave my son a piggyback ride yesterday. And now, my sternum here, my arm is, hurting. It's sore. And I didn't even do anything. I was like, Jesus. I was like, can I not give my kid a piggyback ride anymore? I gotta screw the food. I gotta work on my health. Can't even lift my kid. Rose says, I go to the gym 5 days a week. And no carbs, no extra sugar. I can't afford a cheat day. My goal is weight 200. I currently weigh 245. It's about 23% body fat. I used to, God, man, in high school, I had zero, almost 0% body fat. I was a specimen when I was in high school. Now I'm the opposite of specimen. What's going on, Jesse Mac? Yeah, I've never weighed this much in my entire life. I used to weigh 98 pounds soaking wet when I was in high school up until my junior year, and then I hit 148 between my junior year and my senior year. And I've been that weight up until about my, I would say, early 40s. And then when I hit 40, I started gaining weight. Gained about 50 pounds over the last 5 years. Yeah, right? Hey, you're like, hey, what's that? Oh, Oh, I just pulled my arm for pointing. I kill myself to stay at 196? Yeah. Yeah. It was funny because my brother would always say, Sarge would always tell me, he's like, wait till you hit 25, wait till you hit 30, wait till you hit 40. He was finally right. 15 years later, he was finally right. I think I'm okay at this weight, though. $285, but mostly muscle. But got some small love handles to get rid of. But bulking season, for me, winter is here. Nice. I don't think I'll ever be that weight. I don't think I'll ever be that big, Rose. I don't think my body would allow it. I've always been a if you saw my son takes after me. He's very, very skinny, very, very tiny. All right, let's start off. Let's start off with Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Let me pause that music. Come on, Soy. Soy says, dude, I weigh about 180. I'm going to eat that whole turkey. I'm not a big turkey guy anymore. Turkey, man. You know what I hate most? I know probably most of you love Thanksgiving because of this, right? But I hate that I'm not a big turkey guy, right? I like turkey, but during Thanksgiving, it's just, I look at it and I'm like, ugh. When you look at a turkey, you guys probably look at it and go, man, it's delicious. I can't wait to dig in. When I look at it, I go, that's a week worth of leftovers. I know that I'm getting the turkey today, turkey sandwich the next day, getting turkey like chicken salad or turkey salad the next day, and then after that, we're probably getting like a soup. It's like it's just one. The next week is just turkey. Exactly, Fixer. The turkey, man, I just look at it, I'm like, oh, God. It's turkey for the next week. Yeah, give me a good ham. Some sweet mashed potatoes, like sweet cinnamon sugar mashed potatoes. That's it. That's all I need. All right, so let's start off with this. Those of you that don't know, when I start these off, I do a breakout video. Even though you're watching live, I kind of do a breakout video so it gets uploaded later. So if you're here live, we have conversations and stuff back and forth. But if you don't watch this live, it's just a breakout video of me giving you my thoughts, and that video goes up over on our channel. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Star Wars and Knights of the Old Republic Remake is dead. And before I get to that, make sure you hit that like button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, hit the subscribe button. Let's get to it. So the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Remake is dead. At least that's what Giant Bomb Jeff Grubb had to say on Friday morning during a Game Mess morning show. He says, quote, I just want to clear it up. He says, this game is not being worked on right now, Grubb said around 57-minute mark. Just full stop. This game is not being worked on in any way at any studio. Okay. Now, if you want to take that as it's never going to get done, you can take it that way. But right now, what he's saying, if you just take it for what his words are, if they were working on it, they're not working on it anymore. Okay. Nobody's working on this thing. It's dead in the water as of right now. Okay. He says, originally announced back in 2021, the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake has been through a development turmoil from the start. It was the first in development by Aspire Media before Embracer Group shifted the game over to Saber Interactive in August of 2022. Now, during the show, Grubb also mentioned that the game may have also been moved away from Saber Interactive as well. If this is the case, if it went from Aspire Media and then went to Embracer Group, who then gave it to Saber Interactive, and now if Saber Interactive is not working on it, man, I'm not saying that it's dead in the water, but even if they are going to work on this game and maybe they just can't find someone to work on it, there's been other games that have worked on that have been in turmoil for like 10 years. Dead Island 2 is one of them. It shifted from, studio to studio to studio and came out and it got some success. So maybe this can come out at a later date when they start working on it again, and maybe it's still hopeful, right? Since the announcement of moving away from Aspyr, nothing has been said by anyone involved about the state of the game. Now, the only thing that has happened recently is the scrubbing of the social media of the YouTube by Sony removing mentions of the game. Even during quarterly earning calls, Embracer Group failed to confirm that the game was still making progress. He says, quote, "I noticed anything I say to this becomes a headline. So that at my only comment, Embracer CEO Lars Winford said during the recent earnings call on Thursday." So he's basically shoving it underneath the rug. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to say anything about this because anything I say gets taken out of proportion, right? Or takes it out of context. So Insider Gaming has reached out to Embracer Group and Saber Interactive for comment on the status of the game, and those requests have yet to be received or responded to by the publishing. So they ask, what do you think about Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake? Is it not being worked on right now? And that goes out to you guys out there in the YouTube realm. Are you excited, first off, about these Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake if and when it comes out? I'm not a big remake or remastered guy, right? I know a lot of people, I know some of you in chat, maybe a lot of you in chat, like remakes and remasters. I don't, right? As a gamer growing up my entire life, I like trying new games out. I don't want to go back to the old things, right? Like, I can go play those games and pick them up if I have those systems and whatnot. Now, I know a lot of people, because the way the video game industry is going, maybe you can't play because you don't have that old system. Or maybe it was on Xbox and now you have a PlayStation. You can't get it. Whatever. Okay, I understand that remakes and remasters have a appeal to people that have never played it. But I look at it this, right? I don't like movies that are remade or remastered. Remastered, okay. Like Star Wars gets remastered and gets higher quality 4K. I'm okay with stuff like that. Remakes, I don't like, right? Like, leave that piece alone, right? If you want to remaster, I'm okay with remasters. I don't like remakes, okay? So if they're remaking Knights of the Old Republic, and I said this when they announced it, I said they better not change, because at that time in 2021 when we talked about woke industry and how people were working on Star Wars that were making it woke and whatnot, and that's here nor there. But I just don't like remakes. If you're going to remake something, remaster it, just make it better looking and move it along. But remake means you're changing the original story to resell it because you're too lazy, and I say that truthfully, you're too lazy to take a new IP and try to make something of it. You'd rather take an old IP, change it, and then when it doesn't sell well or doesn't do well, you like to just tell people that they're the problem, where they could have just played the old game. I don't like that music gets remade, right? Just listen to the old music. I don't like when movies get remade. Just listen to or watch the old movies. I don't like when video games get remade. Just go play the old games. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. What do you think? Do you think Knights of the Old Republic should be continued out of the death state that it's in right now, where nobody's working on it? Let me know in the comments section down below. Let me know in chat and live right now. What do you think? Do you want to see Star Wars? And Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is one of my favorite games of all time, right? Made by BioWare when it was BioWare. I don't want anyone else trying to get a go at this. Go make your own stuff. Go make your own Star Wars other RPG and make it compete against this. Don't just take this and try to crap all over it. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. All right. Eclipse says, I almost had 200 pounds. I'm on 150 now with 13% body fat, working on getting addicting. After a while, it sucks at being beginning tough. Or at the beginning, though, right? I was recently excited for this game because I never played the original, but now, sadly, it looks like it won't see the light of day. But, Rose, if you want to go play it, you can go play. Like, you can go buy it on PC. Don't you have a PC? I forget if you have a PC. I know you play on PlayStation. Like, you can go play this game. Z says, I'm finishing Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I've always loved the advanced BioWare's combat. Sorry, Knights of the Republic fans, let this die. Yeah, I honestly, I'm not upset that I didn't want them to remake it. Again, if we have a talk about remaster and remakes, if we're talking about video game awards and stuff, I don't think remasters or remakes should be involved in any of that. But if you're going to make a game and you're going to remaster it, like if you want to remaster a great game, I mean, look what they're doing already. Last of Us 2 is already being remastered. I'm okay with a remaster because they're just making it, they're beautifying it. At least you hope they are. Remakes is where they can change things, story elements, story beats, putting different people in, making it different. Kuda Papa says, Knights of the Old Republic, I would love a remaster or remake, but I don't expect it to get Game of the Year. Right. Again, that's a different conversation, right? Like, remakes and remasters, winning awards, completely different. Remasters, I'm okay with, because it's just beautifying something that was old. Remakes, you're able to go change things, and I don't like that. Just go make a different game. What's the batting average for game remakes these days anyway? As far as what, Demir? Like, as far as if they're good or bad for remakes? No, just PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and 2 Switches, no PC. Is there a... I think there's... Okay, hold on. Can't you play it on the PlayStation 5? It's on the original Xbox, Xbox 360, Microsoft Windows, OS X, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, and Android. Oh, it's not on PlayStation at all? No, that's not right, is it? No, it's on PlayStation, right? You can play it on the PlayStation 5? Is it not on there? Knights of the Old Republic remake. Yeah, it's a remake. You can get it on Steam. Yeah, no, it's not on PlayStation at all. Wait a minute. You can get Knights of the Old Republic. They make it for the Switch? That's true? Oh, that's Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. There is a Knights of the Old Republic 2 on Switch. I don't know if this one is, though. I didn't know. I didn't even know it was on the Switch. If you can play that game, if you can get your hands on it, even with the dated graphics and stuff, it's such a good game. Here, I'll bring up what the graphics look like. Obviously, this is PC, right? But this is such a good game. Anybody that is a Star Wars fan, you got to go play this game. You know what you're gonna have to do, Rose. You know what you're gonna have to do. I don't know if it's possible. I don't even know if it's on. Is it on Game Pass? I don't think it's on Game Pass. Rose, like, I'm not doing it. I don't know if it's on Game Pass. I don't think it is. No, you can buy it on Xbox, but you can't. I don't think it's on Game Pass. It's $5. It was on. Well, maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll come back. Such a good game. Such a good game. Obviously, like I said, the graphics are dated, but 100% you should play that game if you like Star Wars. There's an Android on the Knights of the Old Republic. Played on my tablet. Is it the full game? The full game's on mobile? Going back to what Demir asked for quality. Well, it's hit or miss on some of the remakes, right? Remakes and also remasters. I mean, you look at what they did to Grand Theft Auto for the definitive edition, that looks awful. And then there's other people that make other games that look fantastic as far as the quality. Not many games that I would care about in story being changed, but Knights of the Old Republic is one of the best stories ever. I would have been pissed if they changed that. That's what I'm talking about, Eclipse. When they first announced it, I was like, why are you changing it? There was talks during the actual, when they first announced it, that I forget, they brought this female writer in, and she said that she was going to change it. And I was like, why? Why do you need to change it? Just leave it the way it is. Hence why it's one of the best games, one of the best Star Wars games ever created. It's a great story. Is it on the Xbox One S? I have one of those. Yes, I believe so. I believe you could, on the Xbox One S, I believe you can buy it. It's like $5 on the Xbox Marketplace. No, he's got the Xbox One S. He's got one of these guys. Like, he's got one of these guys. This is an Xbox One S. We gotta change that song. Are you the only person who loves Battlefront 2? Ron, I was literally just playing it this weekend with my son. My son got introduced to it about last year. We played the original Battlefront 1 and 2 on the PlayStation. And now, because of Battlefront 2, he was like, can we play the new one? I was like, sure. So we play split screen on Battlefront 2. And then I just realized there's like a bunch of errors that happen now, and I'm kind of pissed about it, because if you play split screen on the same, on the same screen, there's certain maps and stuff that you can't use. They just crash the Xbox, right? And then I looked it up, and this is a known fact that's been happening for like 2.5 years on the Xbox, and I think the PlayStation as well, where like you can't play split screen on like Starkiller Base. You can't pick Naboo. You can't pick something else. I was like, what's, like, how is this a thing? Like, how come I can't play the game? So I love Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 is a phenomenal game. I wish there's first person shooters out right now that are not as good as Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2, I love the fact that you can go first person, third person. I love the fact that you can switch from left shoulder to right shoulder. There's so much to do. We play it every once in a while on the stream. So if you have an Xbox and you want to play with us, you're more than welcome to jump in next time we play it. I would suggest Xbox console, the PC version on Steam, needed extra control mapping. Battlefront 2 just nailed it. So many things. Top of the visuals, looking photorealistic. When people always compare visuals, I'm like, nothing beats Star Wars. Nothing. Star Wars, even Battlefront 1, the less superior one. Those visuals, man, that photorealism that they have, so good. And it works for that game, right? I don't know if I want like a Modern Warfare with the photorealism, right? Because that hits a little too real. Where Star Wars, galaxy far, far away, space, you know, it looks so good. So good. That game they could have kept and continued going. That could have been a live service game that was successful if they kept just updating it, putting new Jedi, putting new maps, putting new things. But nope. Nope. Same. Okay, I absolutely loved it. Even though people were bitching about it, I was one of the defenders of it. I was like, it's actually a really good game. I was like, you guys are caught up on the microtransactions or the loot boxes beforehand. And then even though they added the microtransactions later, like if you just play the game, right, it's so good. The things that you unlock and upgrade and all the things. It was such a good game. And it came out of EA, and a lot of people can't get it past their mind because it's EA. They're like, oh, EA ruins everything. It's like, EA makes pretty damn good games, hence why they're the conglomerate they are. But people like to take what they do with Madden and FIFA and all that stuff, and they throw it into everything they do. Yes, there's microtransactions. Yes, you could buy certain things, but you didn't need to buy the microtransactions to play the game. I was also a defender because yeah, it had loot boxes. But if you were good at the game, you could just keep playing. You earned all the stuff just as quickly, right? And people didn't want to get it. They were just like blindly hating. I was having a conversation with Travis the other day in Discord, and we were talking about like just he asked a question. I forget what the question was, but I was like, a lot of people that blindly love anything or blindly hate anything. It doesn't matter what it is, right? Like if it's a good game, but you blindly hate a company, you're gonna be like, nah. You know, you don't want to hear anything that's good about it, even though there are good parts about it. There's things out there that are people just blindly hate or blindly love, and it could be a bad game. We play bad games all the time, and I like a couple bad games, right? Like I enjoyed myself with Marvel's Avengers. I enjoyed myself with Gotham Knights. I'm probably going to enjoy myself with Suicide Squad, but people, I understand, and I can admit that I like a bad game and tell you I still had fun with the game, but I can admit that it's not a great game. Other people are like, no, man, best game ever. You're crazy. I had fun. And it's not about having fun in that conversation. The conversation is it's a bad game, and yeah, you can have fun with bad games, but you have to acknowledge that there's problems with the game. Battlefront 2 is the opposite. Battlefront 2 was a phenomenal game, and people just blindly hated it because of the loot boxes that were in before the game came out, and they couldn't get past that. They couldn't get past it. Like, no, the game's shit, man. The game's shit because it's got loot boxes. It's like it doesn't have loot boxes. Well, it's got microtransactions. You got to pay because Shroud, you know, paid $80 for Darth Vader. Everyone's like, oh, you got to pay. You can play the game. Like, just play the game. Like, if you like the game, play it. If you play the game, you'll go through it. But if you, it's not. No one's asking you to like play with like a splinter in your hand and go, nah, I'll leave it in there. I'm gonna get hurt the entire time. Nah, I'll paint through it. It's like if you don't like it, stop playing. But if you like a game, you're gonna continue playing the game. It's like they got to keep telling themselves it's good to believe it. They have to tell you that because all of us, right? If I buy a game for $5 and you bought that game for $125, $125 broke, buggy, and unfinished at launch, you're a sucker. You are, right? You bought full price. They suckered you. You are a sucker at that point. You paid $125 for that game, and you had to wait 2 years to fix it, right? Where someone else comes along and pays $5 for that game, and they waited. right? Now the game is better, and they're like, I don't understand what all the hate is, right? That's the difference. And they're like, people be like, no, it's a good game. Good game, because they paid $125 for it, and they don't want to admit to themselves that they bought a shit game at the moment, because that would say something about themselves, instead of just admitting, going, yeah, I was one of those suckers that bought that game at $125. Kyle says, I personally tried Battlefront 2 when it first came out. Wasn't a big fan of it personally. That's cool. Still a good game. Visually, it's stunning. Like, the game came out in 2017. We play it all the time. Look at this. Look at this. It's gorgeous. This is what me and Sarge talk about all the time, right? We want a game like this for G.I. Joe for Battlefield. And look how gorgeous this is. And everyone's like, oh yeah, Cyberpunk is, right? This game's 2017. Okay, and it blows basically every game that comes out right now visually. Spider-Man 2, God of War, Last of Us, right? This game is visually just amazing. Oh, very active shenanigans. It's packed. It's packed. There are times at night, at certain times at night, that you're struggling to get into a game, but you can go into the 4-player co-op mode. You're always just jump in with people instantaneously, right? The fighting combat in the Starfighter Assault, another awesome game mode. J-Dog says, Mike, I don't want to scare you, but you have to stream until about 4 Eastern. Lono's on vacation, no pressure. I'm not going to do that. I stream till 1. So you're gonna have to find other people from 1 to 4. Sorry, J-Dog. I still play Battlefront 2 this day and got most of the skins, hero cards. I'm still missing a bunch of stuff. Right, Ghost? I'm still missing a bunch of stuff. We're gonna break down the Comeback Kids video of games are not fun anymore in just about 20 minutes or so. If it was up to me, guys, I would just play Star Wars Battlefront 2 100% every night. All right. The next article we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Immortals of Aveum. Let me stop the music. I've been on one of those 3-hour battles. It gets intense. Oh yeah, I like the stuff like that. Battlefront 1 was the remake or remaster, whatever you want to talk about. The new Battlefront 1 that came out in 2015. I like that game as well, but I just didn't like how you got the ships or the Jedi. Yeah, the little token system on the maps. Wasn't a big fan of that. That game is still visually right. Let's go. Wait, real quick. I want you to look at Battlefront gameplay from 2015, right? This is Battlefront 2015. Look at the graphics for Battlefront. This is 2015, okay? And people are like, nah, this game's much better than this. And it's like, this is 2015. This is almost, I mean, this is 8 years old now, right? Closing in on a decade. And I guarantee you, in 2 years, this will still be better than most of the games that come out. So good. So good. Come on, Jason. Yeah, the token system was dumb because they only spawned a few points, and once people learned where they were, they just camped them. Yeah, they just sat there and they would just take them. I like the system in Battlefront 2. It's better, where people are killing, and then when that person dies, the person that also has enough coin can also, become the Jedi. And if you can't get your Jedi or superhero, the heroes inside the big battles, you can go into the smaller battles and learn the character. You can also upgrade the character. So it's cool that way as well. During the Battlefront 1 beta, I went like 60 kill streak or something like that. Graphically, yes. Performance, yes. Content, no. Oh, you're talking, Enbu, about Battlefront 2 with content? There's a shit ton of maps in there. You don't think there's a single player campaign. There's 15 maps. Yeah, we just got done talking about KOTOR not being dead in the water right now. Oh, Battlefront 2015. Content-wise for that game, it still had pretty good content. There was still a bunch of stuff you could do in that game. But it didn't have a campaign. But it had... Oh, no, it didn't. We wanted Galactic Conquest. That's from the Battlefront 2 back in the day. I love Galactic Conquest. Battlefront 1 or 2, the new one, 15 or 17, if it just had Galactic Conquest, I would be a happy camper. That would be my go-to game. I love Galactic Conquest when they had it in the game. And they took it out, and I hated it. I was like, why? It's the best freaking game mode. It's like taking out the survival, the survival mode out of Division 1. I personally think Embracer's ready to sell a bunch of stuff off. That's why they just stopped working on it. No campaign, no space battles, vehicles and hero usage were sparse. It was still a good game. But the second one definitely blew it out of the water. The second one's only missing Galactic Conquest to me, I think would have been perfect. Now, obviously, 10,000 feet after the fact, looking back on it, I wish they put all the rest of the heroes in there. There's the mod community put a bunch of people in there, but it would have been great. Right? Even right now, you could still add characters from Rogue One. You could have added from Andor. You could have added from Boba Fett. You could have added a bunch of characters. They could have still kept going with it. Doing battles within certain places. There's a bunch of. I wish, but it is what it is. All right, let's talk about the next topic. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 30NSG. This next topic we're going to talk about is from Windows Central. It says, our business relies on selling games, and we didn't sell enough games. Ascendant Studios CEO talks about Immortals of Aveum's launch, layoffs, future plans, and Xbox Game Pass. If you like what we do here, we do these Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Make sure you hit that like button down below, and let's get to it. So, Quote, he says, "I had never seen a year like this." So says Brett Robbins, CEO of Ascendant Studios, relatively new development team responsible for launching Immortals of Aveum earlier this year. Now, the game features unique magic-based first-person combat, and noted in the Immortals of Aveum review, while he wasn't perfect, there was a lot to like with the colorful spell-casting systems right out of the gate. Immortals of Aveum has struggled in sales, with the studio laying off almost half of its staff weeks after the game launch. Now, as the team launches an update and free trial of Immortals of Aveum, it had a chance to talk to Robbins regarding the game's launch and layoffs and his thoughts of subscription service like Xbox Game Pass and more. He says, "Why didn't Immortals of Aveum find initial success?" While it was hardly the only possible cause, I asked Robbins a packed release schedule in 2023 contribute to Immortals of Aveum struggling to find an audience. He said 100%, he says, "We weren't not in the position where could delay or push out the launch window. You set those windows quite a bit ahead of time because you're spending the market dollars and you have commitments to particular dates." Now, I don't think because it was a packed schedule, right, that's why it didn't sell well. There's other games out there that were about as popular as this that they did sell well, okay? But at the same time, you look at games like Final Fantasy 16 didn't sell very well, right? It sold 3.3 million copies. It's not very good, okay, for a Final Fantasy game. Now, Robbins adds that the team already knew his chosen release window would be a crowd, as Immortals of Aveum was launching around the same time as Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, with Starfield following just shortly after. On top of that, Robbins said that one of the anticipated of Baldur's Gate 3 blowing up right before Immortals of Aveum's launch. Stop right now, okay? Before you make yourself a fool, okay? People blame things, right? Be like, oh yeah, this game would have been a huge success, but we just made a bad choice. Rubicon came out, Starfield came out, Baldur's Gate 3 came out. That's why our game wasn't successful. No, that's not why your game wasn't successful, but I'll continue. He says, quote, "I've never seen a year like this," he says, adding, "It was always hard to break through the noise when you're a new IP or a studio people haven't heard of before. Trying to create awareness of is really, really difficult, and it's always hard for a new IP, and this year made it 10 times harder." Regarding the studio's layoffs, when I asked Robbins about the company's layoffs and if there was any of the possibility of avoiding it, he doesn't try to sugarcoat the situation. He says, quote, "The layoff really sucked. There's no two ways around it," he says. "We're not a big corporation. A business relies on selling games." No way. No way. A business relies about selling games. And we didn't sell enough games. And at the force that Mian makes the decision, which really is unfortunate. These are people I work closely with, people that have put the heart and soul into a game. You never, ever want to do that. What, can I ask chat and people in YouTube, in YouTube watching this after the fact, what changed? What changed, okay, from the 1980s through the 90s, through the early 2000s to now in the 2020s? Make a game, sell a game. What happened? It's the same thing. Make a game, sell a game. The reason there's microtransactions and whatnot in games is because they want to make more money than they would have made if they just sold a game. Make a good game, the game will sell. Okay? Make a shitty game, and your game will not sell. Now, I'm not saying Immortals of Aveum was a shitty game, but what I'm saying is you're going to have to market yourself, and maybe you should have brought your expectations in line and didn't think that you were going to be the next Call of Duty, and maybe you only could have had to sell maybe 1 million copies. I don't know what they sold. They're not forward with that, I don't think. Okay. Robbins adds that he's happy with some of them and have already found new jobs, and the Ascendant continues to grow, and we hope to work with many of them again. He says the relaunch with the update. Okay, Robbins says that the team wanted to keep supporting Immortals of Aveum, improving things and fixing bugs. That's the real reason right there. Studio launched the free trial on November 17th, allowing curious newcomers to try a new first couple of missions and carry the progress forward into the full experience. This comes alongside the update, which includes a new difficulty, new game plus, some additional endgame content, and a number of bug fixes. Robbins notes that some of these features and things that the team wanted in the original launch, but development timelines meant that they had to wait until this update. And I think this is another problem with the industry. Okay, they're making a game. They sent out a release date, and this is where corporate and developers need to talk, because the marketing team fucks it up for everybody. Okay, and I mean this. Okay, the corporate entity of the company and the big wigs and the guys in the suits that go, "Oh, we know gaming," okay, they come out and they say, well, this game needs to be out by this time. Okay, this is what our timeline is. And the developers are like, we can't do it because it's not going to get done. So they release a game, broke, buggy, unfinished, okay, and then they have to fix it after the time. And it says right here, they didn't have the development time because the marketing already marketed the game before the game was ready. Imagine in a world where you make a game and you sell a game, and once you're along the lines of almost done with the game, then you market the game because it's almost done. And then when you market the game, then you sell the game, and then it's not broke, buggy, unfinished, and doesn't need to be patched after the fact because first impressions are everything, at least to me anyway. I don't know about you guys. Okay. So building a game in Unreal Engine 5 and working with EA. While dozens of major games in development using Unreal Engine 5, Epic Games' latest software precision of a few have actually been released using the technology. Immortals of Aveum was one of the first leveraging features and pushed image quality and effects while making heavy use of the Unreal Engine 5 restructure. Okay. I asked Robbins and believes the benefit of hindsight in using the technology was the right call. Now, it certainly was for us. We're not a huge studio for AAA, and we're pretty modest size, he says. Unreal 5 lets us create a game that looked and played competitively to any other out there. I'll cut back to that. That was a huge advantage for us, and it's really powerful, and their features are pretty incredible, like Nanite and Lumen, okay, allow you to really rapid iteration things to make development more effective or efficient. Now, what he's saying there is that basically it's a first go with the studio, and they made a AAA game, and it made them compete and have advantages to compete with the other games, okay? It says, looked and played competitively to any out there. So it looked, right? That's the big word. The game that looked and played competitively to any game out there. But did it, though, right? If it's just faking it to make it, okay, then it really didn't compete with the games that are out there using this. And this is my problem that I talked about months ago. I said with the Unreal Engine 5, all these games, they think because it's pretty graphics that all of a sudden that's what makes a good game. That's not what makes a good game. This is almost like, this is going to sound bad, but the girls that think they're super pretty because they put all this makeup on, but really they're just not good people. They might look awesome on the outside, but deep down inside, they're not good people. Okay, and I guess men do the same thing, but you know what I'm talking about, right? With video games, you make them pretty on the outside because of the Unreal Engine 5 and it looks good, but the game itself doesn't feel good. Deep down inside, it's not really competitive with the other games out there. Now, Robbins notes that there's still challenges due to the early nature of the engine's launch, and that we were certainly laying the tracks as the train was rolling, with the studio consulting Epic engineers in order to get the best possible results. I hear a lot of excuses why this game didn't succeed. I hear a lot of excuses why this game didn't succeed. Looking back on it, I didn't think there was any sort of that we could have shipped Immortals without being on the Unreal Engine 5, he says. As part of the EA's program, Ascended Studios owned its Immortal Aveum publisher Electronic Arts wasn't involved in the creative side, instead of handling the game's marketing and publishing. Oh, so EA is the one that ruined it. Good job, EA. Quote, there was a lot of conversation with them around the certain features and thought the game would need the accessibility features they thought the community wanted, right? Robbins said, noting the improvements were made in those areas as a result of EA's feedback, but that the publisher didn't have any say in creative decisions. Now, quote, continuing, he says, there were good partners in terms of being passionate about the game and supportive of the game, and I was happy with the relationship. Now, he says, Immortals of Aveum coming to Xbox Game Pass. He asked Robbins if Immortals of Aveum would be coming to a subscription service like Xbox Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, and if launching it on one of those or both the services would help Immortals of Aveum launch. He says, certainly, those services give you a wider funnel. He says, more people might engage with the game. That's always good, right? He adds that, yes, we're talking to them about getting the game on both of those services, and we don't have a date yet. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, though. In response to whether or not the launching on these services would help the game at launch, he extremely candid. To be honest, I don't know, he says. I don't know if it would have been better or worse, noting that the teams relied on EA to handle a lot of those calls, looking back on those future. Well, I want to chime in a little bit with the Game Pass thing. I think a game like this, trying to break into the AAA market with a game that is your first, small studio, you're making a AAA game, amongst a bunch of other games. I talked about this with Suicide Squad the other day when that document leaked in the lawsuit, or the trial with Activision Blizzard, and we saw some of the day and date games that Xbox was paying for, and we see like games like Suicide Squad was on that list for $250 million. Okay, that $250 million represents about 3.5 million copies sold for that game. So if a game like this, I don't want to say it would take $250 million, but if it took $100 million, okay, that's about 1.2, 1.5 million copies sold, which is probably more than they would have sold on their own, right? But that's already in the pipeline, right? You're still selling it for PlayStation, you're still selling it for PC, okay? So if PlayStation paid them and then Xbox paid them to get on that service, I think it would have been better for this company because they wouldn't have laid off anybody, because they would have got the money up front, okay, from Xbox, from PlayStation. It would have been on both those services, and it would survive because they would have made their money back, because technically if they paid $100 million, let's say, for on both sides, I'm being very generous here, they would have sold about 3 million copies. And for a game like this, as long as their budget wasn't astronomical like a Last of Us 2 with 200 million plus, they would have made their money back. But that's just, that's just me. Looking back at the future, he says, ask Robbins if he can go back and tell himself something the development of the game first began, what would it be? He's an understanding just how important the team's technology is to what they're trying to make. You can make the best ideas in the world, but if you don't have the people that can create those ideas, then you don't have a tech platform for even to work. It doesn't matter, he says. I got every fortunate of a hiring, of eventually ending up being the ascendant of the leadership group of everything is fantastic, while noting that he had also previous ways of working on the big teams with big games, established franchises like Call of Duty. He has the experience came with a lot of assumptions you make about things that you should just know or just work. He continues to saying, when you're working on a brand new game with a brand new team, with a brand new technology, you can't assume anything. I don't think you can assume anything with an old team, with old technology, right? You have to build everything from the ground up. I would tell myself to laser focus more on the tech, on the key hires, right teams, and adding to the team moved very fast, efficiently, but there's always ways for rooms of improvement. When I asked the studio if there was a future plans he can share, he carefully not to reveal too much, but he does confirm that Ascendant Studios is working on something right now. He says the Ascendant is working on a new project that I'm very excited about, he says, and there's lots of possibilities, but what they may not be doing in the future. So I think this company, as being a brand new company, I think he kind of bit off more than he could chew, personally, right? I think that this company, Ascendant Studios, just try to make something because he worked on Call of Duty. I think it was a good go, right? I do. I think visually the game looks good, but again, I think it's shallow. I think a lot of these games that come out with Unreal Engine 5, a lot of people pick it up because it looks good, but it's actually not a good game. Now, I haven't played Immortals of Aveum, okay? So I can't tell you if it was actually a good game or not personally. I do know what it ranked and what people said, and they said it was a fun game and whatnot, but to compete against other things, this is the same thing that Battlefront did with Halo. I forget who it was. Was it Halo that blamed Battlefront that it didn't sell well, or was it Battlefront that complained that Halo came out and it didn't sell well? One of them did that, okay? Now, obviously, you know when things are coming out. You can delay it if you really wanted to. But it sounds like there's a lot more problems here with this game than just coming out the same time, around the same time as Baldur's Gate, as Baldur's Gate 3 or Starfield or any of these other things. These are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Sarge says, you sell games, WTF. Always growing. 80s and 90s are advertised, it released a demo, and then they sell the full complete game. Now you get sold half a game, and it's usually riddled with bugs. Yeah, exactly. The argument is always, if you don't set a deadline, nothing gets done. Suits don't make games. The Suits, Jesse Mack says, the Suits wants to put their hands on, rather than becoming a game by themselves, pay for the mistakes. Sarge says, well, it looked like it did. So shut up and buy it. I don't know why I bought the game. Did you buy the game, Soups? Was it? Did you play it? Was it good? I'll wait till it drops on Game Pass, PlayStation Plus to play it. Immortals seems like a decent game. I just don't pay for it outright, though. But that's the question, right? Why didn't you pick it up, right? Water? Not to put you on the spot, but like, what made you not buy it? Was it because of Baldur's Gate 3? Was it because of Starfield? Was it because of any other game that came out? Or was it something about the game you saw, you're like, I don't like it? It was okay for what it was, Soup says. And that's my thing. Reading the article and them saying that it was competitive with the other AAA games. That seems like a person, and there's nothing wrong with this, the person making the game feeling passionate about the game, going, yeah, this is just as good as anything that's out there. The difference is it's a brand new IP, and the things that it's going up against are things that are known. Now, Starfield, not known IP, but the developer making it was very known based on what they made. And we knew about Starfield, but it's a brand new IP and did very well. But that's built up. Ascended Studios is not Bethesda. Bethesda's been around for 25 years, right? Ascended Studios has been around for 12 months. For a $70 title, it just seems like it would be fun, but extremely shallow. Eclipse says it just looked like a worse Doom. I mean, I'm going to give it a shot. If it comes to Game Pass, I'm not going to buy this game. I wasn't interested in it from the start. I went, I'm not a big... But again, graphically, it looked phenomenal, right? Graphically, you're like, oh, man. Like, here, I'll bring up some footage of it, right? I mean, it looks good. Looks good. But it just, something feels off about it to me. Something feels off about it. Something feels off about it when they first showed it. Soup says the graphics turned me on, and being an RPG made me interested in it. Like if I didn't tell you the name of this game, right? You would just look at it and go, "Oh, is this Skyrim? Is this?" Do you know what I mean? This is an expansion to a game I already know. I don't know if it's just weird that because he's not using a gun and it's his hand, and he's like reloading his arm. I don't know. I'll be honest, when we first saw the first trailer for this game, I was like, oh, that looks interesting. But then I saw the campaign, like the cutscenes and whatnot, and I was just like, I don't know. And I want to know, is that our problem, Soups? You know what I mean? Like, is that our problem as customers that we don't give a game a shot? I don't think so. Right? I think no matter what company you are, independent, AAA, AA, whatever it is, I think it's your job to market a game and get people to buy it. Make a game, sell a game, right? And if you fail on that, well, that's their problem. Now, there's our games that we buy every year, right? The Maddens, the FIFAs, the Call of Duties. No matter what happens, people buy it, regardless if it's good or bad. But that's because they have a set audience that they've been there for 20 years, right? This was a full price game. It was $70. The gameplay looks more like a first-person shooter rather than Magic, so I thought it was just a generic shooter campaign. I just caved and bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Even the Gauntlet, the dev thinks it's cool, but too many things and distracting hands, what? Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I just feel like this is the same, and I don't think it's Ascended Studios' fault that they did what they did. I think it's just because the industry is just too similar in a lot of stuff. And this is my problem, though. What was that other game that came out? It came out almost the exact same time as this. There was Immortals of Aveum. There was that other game that looked like Forsaken. It was a first person. I think it was first person. I forget what it was called. But they all just start looking the same. Because of the Unreal Engine, they're always putting themselves in like a desert area. Some sort of mountains. I mean, a lot of running around here with nothing going on. No, not Tokyo Wire or Ghostwire RPG. I forget what the hell it was called. It's like a fantasy game. I forget what came out. It came out. If Travis was here, he could answer because I think he played it. This would have been a better VR game. You know what, Akuta Papa? Now that you say that, I've been playing a lot of VR this weekend. 100%. I think this would have had a market in that. Yeah, it was like a hack and slash game. Atlas Fallen. That's it, Water. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. This is the other game that came out, right? Like, you look at this, and yes, it's third person. But what I'm talking about is, like, I don't even know if this used Unreal Engine. But everything always looks the same. Let me find an open area. When they're out in the open world. Yeah. When they're out in the open world, everything looks the same. Right? He's like surfing on the sand. It looks good visually. Everyone just needs the visuals to sell you. And this is why I don't go with visuals, right? Why is BattleBit Remastered so good? It has nothing to do with the graphics. Zero to do with the graphics. The graphics are charming, but the gameplay, okay, is amazing. This is why I don't play games for graphics. This is why I play games for story. This is why I'm interested in Suicide Squad, because Rocksteady up to this point has yet to let me down with story elements. But everybody wants to hate on that game because it's a live service game instead of just playing it as what it is. This is a single-player game, and then once you're done with the single-player game, you move on to the live service aspect. Water says, I have a MetaQuest game on pre-order that came with the Quest 3 called Asgard's Wrath 2. And they said it's a 40-hour action RPG game. Looks great, too. What is it called now? It's called Asgard's Wrath 2. All right, let's look it up. Let's look at it, Water. Now, is this a first person? This is first person. This is a VR game. Now, if you told me this was Immortals of Aveum, you see what I'm saying? This actually looks pretty good for a VR game. Now that Okuda Papa said what he said, I think Immortals of Aveum would have been a fantastic game as a VR experience. And no matter what games you look at in VR, nothing can sell you on VR unless you put that headset on. I played the shittiest game this weekend. Okay? I don't even know what it was called. It was like a driving game that you're getting away from the cops. It was like blocky. It was blocky. And I had a blast playing it. I was also a barista at a coffee bar. And like these paper characters came up to me ordering food. And I was like, if I saw a picture of it or a video of it, I'd be like, I'm never playing this game. But playing it in VR, you're like, this is actually pretty fun. This looks pretty good. Water. This looks good. This looks actually pretty good. And you see, when you said it was a VR, I'm looking at it already and giving it kind of like props, because if this was a normal game, it'd be very generic. Very generic. But because it's a VR game, it automatically becomes better, because you play other VR games and you look at it and go, This is like a AAA game for VR. Yeah, I see myself smashing my TV with this, breaking a wrist. I'm gonna have to use my son's Minecraft sword in real life, so I feel like I'm holding something. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. I have not. The problem is with the VR, I can't buy all these games at once. They're only like $30, but buying this and buying that and buying this, it adds up pretty fast. So I just set up the virtual VR desktop that you recommended, and man, let me tell you, I love it. Okay, I'm sitting on the couch and I have like a giant screen in front of me. I'm sitting in a theater room like I used to have, and I have all my workspace in front of me. So last night or yesterday, I was like editing my videos in the virtual world. And I was like, this is great. This is great. I want Hogwarts VR with voice, because I could use the actual spells. Oh, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. No, I have the MetaQuest 2. I did look at the MetaQuest 3 at Target this weekend, and I was like, wow. I was like, that's a big upgrade. I think I might wait till the next one comes out next year. Like whenever they come out with the MetaQuest 4 or whatever it is. I think that's when I'll do an upgrade. The only reason I have a MetaQuest 2 is because of Akuda Papa. So very generous. He gifted it to me. So, and I've been loving it. I've been loving the virtual world. I heard really good things about the Quest 3. Someone said that they were watching a movie and their bed and they fell asleep with it on, which is crazy. Well, the problem is that means they fell asleep with the lights on, because if you shut the lights off, and I don't know how MetaQuest 3 works, but if there's not enough light in the room, like the headset won't work because it has to have the spatial awareness. So I'm not sure how that works. I do love the fact, even though in the MetaQuest 2 it's like black and white, I love the fact that I can like sit on the couch, my son's playing, he can talk to me, I can see where he is, and I have all the virtual spaces in front of me. MetaQuest 3, you can look at it without any lights, so they upgraded it then. That's good. Yeah, it's awesome, Water. That $20 for the virtual desktop, worth it. And then I can swap between all my monitors with just a quick button, and I can do multiple things. I loved it. I love it. Right, because in real life you're sitting in darkness, but in your head you're like in a bright room in a virtual world. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. My wife makes fun of me now because I'll be sitting on the couch and she starts to talk to me and I can see her, but I'm staring at her with the big thing on my head. Do you know what I mean? So it's pretty funny. She's like, I can't look at you when you're staring at me. I was like, what? I'm having a conversation with you. She's like, yeah, but you look ridiculous. I was thinking about putting like googly eyes on the outer edge. Let's go out, Travis. Happy Thanksgiving week. All right, we're gonna watch because this is pretty lengthy. It's 25 minutes long, and we're gonna watch this from the start all the way through. What's going on, 76? Water says, by the way, for your son, there's a Lego game dropping that uses AR tech that you can actually see it in the real world while building and playing. Yeah, I think Stealth sent me. Oh no, he sent me the Minecraft one. He sent me the Minecraft one where you can actually like do the AR outside, but I think it's MetaQuest 3, and you can like literally dig the ground and whatnot, which is pretty badass. Yeah, paint my face in the headset. That's already happening, Eclipse. They already have... Amazon's got a couple of glasses, just glasses, which is AR. So the technology is moving faster and faster. It's going to be there. Yeah, I think the hate's going to be there, and a lot of people are going to trash the game, Travis. But I've said it last year when we first saw it. I said I'm playing Suicide Squad for the single-player story, right? I'm not looking at it as a live service game. I know it is a live service game, but I'm playing the campaign. If it's 10, 15 hours for the campaign, and I enjoy it, then it's worth it for me. You know what I mean? All right, so we're gonna be watching. We're gonna be watching the Comeback Kids video. It came out about a month ago. It's called "What the Fuck Is Happening to Gaming?" Okay, he says, "Why is gaming just not fun anymore?" So we're gonna watch this. Let me raise the volume a bit. So as we watch it, I only watched the first 3 minutes originally, and then I stopped and said, "You know what? I'm gonna wait and watch it with you guys and give you my thoughts." So here we go.
For as long as I can remember, video games have always been a major part of my life and really my favorite hobby. I remember my oldest brother brought home a little game called The World of Warcraft, and it changed my life forever.
Real quick, I forget how many hours we got in Gotham Knights, but I enjoyed Gotham Knights. People that hate on it for just the 30 frames per second, the story is good. It's a good story. And as a comic book fan, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every second of it.
This led to thousands of different adventures, universes, and stories, filling my childhood and teenage years with endless joy and promise. I always thought by the time I'd become an adult, gaming would blow me away. I mean, if I'm doing this today, I can't wait to see the future 20 years from now. But as I grew older, gaming changed.
I love how he says as he gets older. I don't know how old the comeback kids are. I don't. They sound like they're in their 20s. Okay? Which, nothing against them, but you've seen absolutely nothing. You think the changes that happened from when you were like 13 to 25 were something? How about from the early 80s to now?
Battle passes, loot boxes, and everything became so heavily monetized. Games are constantly being released broken, buggy, or just poorly developed. Reboots and remasters are a normal occurrence because nothing new ever seems to stick. I still wish to this very...
Man, the first 45 seconds sounds like my entire channel that I've been talking about for the last 9 years.
Every day we could go back to that perfect time because sadly, those were feelings I would never get back again. There are a lot of reasons why gaming isn't fun anymore, and I think I finally know why. Okay, now the easiest way to understand why something is defective is to compare it to the best version of itself. In order to find out the problem with gaming today, we're going to compare it to the late 90s and 2000s time period.
Yeah, it's funny. Again, no shade to the comeback kids. He makes good videos.
Where gaming was at its most authentic. During this time, when you bought and owned a game, you could play the complete experience, and it was a very simple and fair trade between players and developers. This era in gaming was so great because there was no hidden manipulation, there were no tricks, you paid money, and the developer's main focus was to give you the most fun experience you could possibly
Make a game, sell a game, baby. Make a game, sell a game.
have. Developers at the time strongly believed that the better the game was, the more sales and money they would make. Every year, there was a brand new set of games on a wide variety of gaming consoles that pushed boundaries on things like story, gameplay mechanics, and graphics. Games rapidly innovating made things so refreshing, new, and it's what led to these games forever feeling nostalgic. Even PC games started to flourish, with popular games having access to expansion packs, giving you loads of additional content available for purchase. This would include more story, gameplay features, adventures, and expand upon the base game that already had a full experience of its own. Expansions like Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne, Diablo 2, The Lord of Destruction, or Morrowind's Tribunal expansion. Think of it almost like a cheeseburger.
Uh-oh, he's using food analogies.
You have your basic burger with toppings, and things were still very good. An expansion pack would simply add on.
I just want to point out here. Do you see the hierarchy there, right? Story, gameplay, art design, challenges, sound and music. I would move sound and music up a slot or two, but
burger with toppings, and things were still very good. An expansion pack would simply add on to that and give you something extra, like having fries, a drink. You knew exactly what you were getting, and none of it was abusive or predatory from the developer.
Yeah, I'm fucking hungry now. I don't know what this video is about, but I'm hungry now.
End. Even the simple act of going to pick up physical copies at a midnight release felt like a big event that you never wanted to miss out on. Standing in line with friends and strangers who shared your passion for the game created an...
Oh God, I miss these times, man. I miss these midnight events. Okay, hanging out with my friends, hanging out with complete strangers, having a conversation. Just it's basically chat. But in real life, you're sitting in chat, right? You're sitting in line talking to chat. Miss those days, man.
Energy that felt warm and welcoming. It finally felt like you were a part of a community that no one would judge you about, and everybody could just be themselves. All of these things just made games great. Everything felt meaningful. Everything felt fair. As time passed, things slowly started changing. As gaming grew in the East, we began to see additional monetization practices.
Yeah, see, people think the armor was the first microtransaction thing, but it was MapleStory that was actually the first one.
Is it being normalized? MapleStory's Gacha loot box system in 2004 gave random in-game items at the cost of real money. They didn't think much of it at first, but the major return on minor development time was massive, and it started to raise some eyebrows on how much they were making. It was a moment in time where investors realized that it was worth dedicating at least a little bit of time not to actually developing the game.
And this visual right here is exactly what the video game is right now. The video games are right now, right? Before they even come up with the story, before they even come up with the game, I don't know if he's making a point here for this. I'm making the point with this picture here. Okay, before they even come up with the story, before they even come up with the gameplay and art design, all this other stuff, right? They go, I have an idea. I want to make a game, and this is what it is. They're like, well, can you put microtransactions in it? And they're like, yeah, I guess, right? And this is what video games is like now.
Game and making it better, but to develop small.
Can I just say, come back, kids. If you're going to use a picture from the internet, make sure you delete the watermarkings on the actual picture, or find a picture that doesn't have watermarkings on it. Maybe he didn't notice they were there because no one's going to pause it like I am. But come on, get a picture with no watermarkings on there.
All systems in the game to simply make more money from the player after the game was launched. As time went by, the US and Western gaming market wasn't influenced by loot boxes just yet. An almost freak experiment occurred with one of the world's most successful games at the time, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. The first ever gaming skin was released at a very minor cost.
Horse armor. 2 years after MapleStory. Excuse me. 2 years after MapleStory with microtransactions. And this is what everyone brings the pinnacle of what microtransactions, right? They don't remember MapleStory. They remember Bethesda's, Oblivion with horse armor.
Of $2.50. This skin was in the form of horse armor, and like loot boxes, the developers didn't think much of it by releasing it to the public. And after they realized how many people bought it, developers started to think again. The work and development time to make a cosmetic is very small, and the return on investment is very large.
Okay, we just did a story on GXG this past week where World of Warcraft sold one mount that made more money than the entire game they worked on of StarCraft 2. Okay? One mount. Okay? So when you look at games like this, right? Let's look at the Suicide Squad that's coming out. Okay? That's the next game that's coming out that's going to be selling you microtransactions of cosmetics. Okay? When you can hire... When you can make a full game for $200 million, but you can make $200 million, you sell 3 million copies, and you're like, oh, it's a failure. But if you could take that one piece of armor, charge $10, and then sell that, right? You're like gold. Okay? And that's the problem. Why the way the industry looks at it, they're like, just make a bare minimum game and then sell microtransactions, where if they really realize that they made an actually good fucking game, they could put all the microtransactions they want in there, because if it's a good game and people play it, then they might partake in the microtransactions. But no. They take a page out of Bungie's book of, oh yeah, we're gonna put this game in here, but we're gonna sell you these microtransactions for cosmetics and take all the other stuff out of the game. Like time or money. Time or money. And most of the population will put their time in to earn something, then pay. But the minority of the people will pay. And that's what they care about, because they can put the minimum viable product out and make the most money.
A single cosmetic can be sold for less than $5, but can be sold hundreds of thousands of times. The staple of once buying a game and getting the whole game was now slowly starting to change and get twisted. Even though you bought it, you don't have access to everything else inside of the game, and this wasn't fair to players. As the success of additional microtransactions grew, more and more we saw an increase in dedication and resources to making more money.
Yeah.
When this happens, they are taking away from development time to make the game better, and it began to spread like wildfire. Fast forward, EA Sports took notice of the success of loot boxes around.
And this is where it all changed.
around 2009 and implemented it as card packs in their brand new Ultimate Team mode within the FIFA franchise. These card packs contain random players at random rarities, and you could purchase them with a form of currency you slowly gained over time. Or by spending real-life money, you could purchase them instantly. The design of making players frustrated with...
You know what I don't understand? I'm not this type of person. Maybe some of you guys are. I don't understand how you could buy a Messi, right, this year. And then you know that FIFA 2025 or 2024 is going to come out next year, and then you're going to buy Messi again. Right? You're going to buy the same game, just updated. Not even updated graphics, just the same game with a new roster, but the same roster, and you're going to go for the same people because he was a 99 this year, he's a 99 next year, and you want to pay for that yet again. I don't get it. I don't get it. But if you're one of those people, come back every day and watch the exact same video every single day and let me know, and also tip down below if you do that, because that's exactly what you're doing. It's the same fucking content every single day of your life, and you buy the exact same card next year. It's insane to me. It's insane.
Underperforming cards for free and giving you a paid chance to get great cards officially formulated.
No, shenanigans, you can't buy specific people. What I'm saying is Messi is in the game, and you pay for the loot box to get Messi. Once you get Messi, you're like, oh my God, I got Messi, right? And then next year you're like, oh man, I need Messi again. Let me get him again. It's like, it's so ridiculous.
But unlike that horse armor...
Let's see if I can beat my record last year. Last year I spent $12,000. Let's see if I can spend less this year.
...that you knew you were getting for spending $2. This was completely random, and you were gambling because great cards were not guaranteed.
I go Van Persie. I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done.
Before they even had the chance to release the next FIFA game less than 1 year later, the Ultimate Team design made more money than the box sales of the base game of FIFA itself.
Yeah, if you're making more money than the base game itself from the why would they change it? Why would they change it? They're never changing it. They're never changing it because there's an idiot born every second. And people are going to buy it. And when I say idiot, I mean idiot. But at the same time, if you love a game, you're going to spend money on the game. This is the way it is. But the industry is never going to change because the people are still buying microtransactions that are 10 times more than the actual game itself.
Wasting no more time, they immediately implemented this same exact game mode system inside of their next bestseller, the Madden franchise, with Madden Ultimate Team. What's even worse is the fact that none of these cards and progression carried over into the next year's game, meaning that with every new Madden or FIFA game, there was a shelf life on your cards that you purchased, forcing you to re-gamble card packs over and over again every year. I'm
okay with that.
Net revenue generated...
Ron says loot boxes can save Gollum.
From EA based on strictly Ultimate Team modes from 2018 to 2021 generated over $5.5 billion in sales. This is more money made than Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Cyberpunk 2077 sales off of their base box price combined.
Did you hear that again? Let me rewind that for a second. Let me rewind that for a second for those of you that missed it, okay?
Modes from 2018 to 2021 generated over $5.5 billion in sales. This is more money made than Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Cyberpunk 2077 sales off of their base box price combined.
Why would the industry change if Madden and FIFA is making $5 billion more than some of the 3 most popular games in the last decade? Combined.
Now, by this point, skins and loot boxes are being introduced across the gaming world commonly. In that same year, in 2009, one of the biggest gaming giants ever, World of Warcraft, introduced...
Nah, Water, I live up in Orlando. I wouldn't run into them. Down south you would, probably.
...their very first microtransactions in the form of pets. These pets didn't affect your gameplay and were cosmetic in nature only, but cost you $10 if you wanted to buy them. Less than 1 year later, they were immediately implementing more pets into the store and their very first paid mount, the Celestial Steed. It's important to note that this mount generated over $2 million in just over 4 hours of being released, and from that point on, the Blizzard store took off, being flooded with more skins, pets, and microtransactions every year.
$2 million in 4 hours from a microtransaction.
Onward. It's gotten to the point now where you can officially buy in-game gold for real-life money, turning World of Warcraft into a pay-to-win game. As the industry began to notice this success, more and more developers were hired to create and invent more avenues of microtransactions. So, with that, the Battle Pass was now born, and it was first introduced inside of Dota 2. This now allowed players the optional purchase of a pass that provided them with various challenges and objectives to unlock more items and generally try to increase rewards the more you play their game.
Now, with battle passes, I'm okay with the battle pass because there's a free track and a paid track. And again, if you like a game, okay, and what I don't mind about battle passes is that it's $10 for like 50 things. What I don't like about battle passes is if you don't complete them, they take them away. Now, there are games out there like Halo. If you buy the season pass, you get the whole thing. I think Wayfinder does the same thing. But if I pay you the money, I should be able to earn that whenever I want, right? Not when you tell me I can. So that's my downfall of battle passes. Now, what I like about battle passes as well is that if I like your game, I'm going to play your game. And the more I play your game, the more things I'm going to unlock by leveling up, right? Now, per se, I'm not leveling up in levels inside the game, but I'm leveling up my pass. I'm okay with that, okay? Instead of spending $20 on one cosmetic, I'm spending $10 on 50 levels or 100 levels, whatever it is, and I get multiple cosmetics, multiple XPs, multiple currencies, right? There's stuff in that battle pass. I don't partake in battle passes unless I actually put the time into your game. So the way I play battle passes is if I play your game and I put 60 hours into your game and I unlock that battle pass, well, then I'll give you the $10 because I will not give you the $10 ahead of time because if you take it away from me before I can get there and I don't have the time in my life, then I'm not going to do it. But I'm okay with battle passes the way they're partake, but I just don't like the way they pull them from you.
Gaining inspiration from Madden and FIFA's Ultimate Team.
No, Fallout First is not a battle pass. Fallout First is paying for a private server. The battle pass that's inside Fallout, Travis, is that like that board game thing they do. That's free and there's a paid track. But the Fallout First gets you extra bonuses and stuff, but you're paying for your private server. That's what you're paying for, with extra bonuses as well.
Team using a yearly time-gated system, they actually doubled down on this, making it even more time-sensitive, lasting about 3 months. This created a massive amount of FOMO within the gaming community, as these are rewards that you might never see again. This fear of not collecting these rewards after they're gone forever brought you even more dark pattern selling tactics from developers. Monetization was officially evolving. Since then, a wide variety of games and even MMOs adopted this same model, including the biggest being Fortnite, Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, Diablo 4, and New World, each iteration building upon the foundation laid by Dota 2. In fact, it's gotten so bad that what used to be great franchises like Call of Duty have been poisoned, morphed, and Frankensteined into what the game is today by using every single form of microtransaction we've spoke about so far.
Yeah, they bring in Spawn and Skeletor and all these other events. Like Call of Duty is not even Call of Duty anymore. It's literally Fortnite for adults. That's what it is.
From loot boxes to battle passes to skins
to
FOMO.
Later.
They've done it all. And what once used to be such an amazing franchise has turned into a game where you could play as superheroes, Diablo characters, sports athletes, pop stars like Nicki Minaj.
Oh man, I can't wait to get Nicki Minaj.
And even horror characters in a first-person shooter game about war. During all of this, it's now become more beneficial for game developers to design systems in the game that make things intentionally harder or worse for the player. By doing so, it allows them to directly sell you the solution to that.
You know what I can't wait? I can't wait for the next like Call of Duty, like World War II edition and Snoop Dogg's in the game. I can't, you know, I'm going to make a World War II accurate game where I can bring Michael Bublé inside the game, right? Or George Clooney. I can't wait.
Problem through their paid cash shop. And this is known as paying for convenience. The most common examples of something like this are minimalizing your storage space and you could pay for extra storage, making the leveling experience slow so you could pay for a temporary XP boost, limiting your available character creation slots so they could sell you more slots to create as many as you would like, making the game map intentionally large or your character slow so you could purchase faster mounts, or even discovering fast travel points. Developers at this point are intentionally shooting themselves in the foot, betting that you will pay for instant gratification solutions to their problems.
Of course I'm going to boost. Are you really going to tell me I'm going to spend an extra 200 hours playing the game? Fuck that.
Now, what he just said there, see, there's a difference between letting me play the game and it takes like 10 hours, or if it takes me 200 hours. Right? And he's right. Why would I put 200 hours in, especially if the grind is shitty? Okay? And fundamentally, that burger that they showed, where the microtransactions get bigger and bigger, that's what ruins the story. That's what ruins the gameplay. Because the gameplay was there and it was fair, where you just play the game, you enjoy the game, you unlock things in the game, but then they're like, wait a minute, you want to play the game and you want to enjoy it? Sorry. This thing that would take you 10 hours is not going to take you 70 hours to get that one thing.
I'm not contradicting myself at all. Everybody is going to do this.
To milk things even further, major game releases will usually do what is called an early access release.
Okay, this is the new thing now, right? Now it was the pre-order, but now there's the early access 3 days early, 5 days early, pay the extra $30, pay the extra $50.
To those who spend money on an enhanced edition of the game. We've seen this recently with games like Diablo 4 and Starfield, where you could spend an extra $20 to play the game before everyone else. By this point, the burger that was once pay in full and a beautiful symbiotic relationship between players and developers has now been...
There you go. See? It's amazing. I didn't even watch this video yet, and I knew exactly that's what it was.
More and more corrupt by the day, to the point where it is nearly unrecognizable. Now, in order to get the full experience of a modern game, you don't just simply pay for the box price. There are now so many systems developed and practiced by psychologists and developers to get you to pull out your wallet and spend more money. It's very simple now. Games aren't created anymore with the full intent to create a...
Yeah, but the problem with that, Water, is people buy it and then they're bored. Because then they're not going for anything. Now they just have it, and they're like, yeah, I'm kind of bored. And they put it down. That's it. That's the problem.
Great player experience. Games are businesses. The best way to make money now through the gaming business is by using the modern strategies that were developed over the last 20 years. Loot boxes, skins, pre-order exclusive bonuses, battle passes, selling player conveniences, exclusive currencies. Instead of hiring game developers, they hire people to come in and streamline these microtransactions.
Yeah, look at this. Predatory monetization, categorization, unfair, misleading, and aggressive monetization techniques in digital games from player perspective. Game dynamic design to drive spending. Pay or grind. Pay or wait. The nerf cycle. Game builds dependency on microtransactions. Unfair matchups. Free game experience underpowered. Payment needed to avoid negative consequences. Then it goes to the next category. Product not meeting expectations. Sales of useless products of duplications. Product does not incorporate everything player believes in it. Early access content end up with something different. Buy something not wanted to get desired product. Separate re-release or product as free, cheap, or easy to get. Monetization strategy changed partway through game life cycle. Then it goes to monetization of basic quality of life. Core aspects of the game monetized. Parts of the game locked behind paywalls. Limited inventory space without paying. Game unplayable without spending money. Then it goes to in-game currency. General existence of in-game currency. In-game currency, actual prices. Disgusting actual prices. Multiple currency types causes confusion. Fixed purchase rates are unfair. Then it goes to pay to win. Advantage over their players. Subscription features. Boosts and pay to play competitively. Then it goes to predatory advertising. Unrealistic presentation of the product, lack of information about conditions of the transaction, aggressive advertising. Then it goes to general persistence of microtransactions. Microtransactions is a business model, payment mechanisms in paid and product, and overpricing. And then there's the other ones. Teasers, limited time offers, battle passes, and dark interference design patterns.
Systems with proper psychology to encourage you to spend more money, and the truth is, this system works. When it feels like games today can't compare to games of the past, it's because most of the time, they simply can't. Innovation in modern gaming hasn't become still, it simply switched its focus. It went from what new great things can we make that players will love to how can we make a game for the least amount of money with the most aggressive and manipulative monetization people will accept.
You know what I like about what I like about this? Look, full game, no microtransactions. Make a game, sell a game. Play the game. You like the game, keep playing the game. If you don't like the game, stop the game, buy a new game. Then we have skins, loot boxes, OP, paid weapons, season passes, paid weapons, attachments, 4 DLC packs. Okay. What I like about this kid, the Comeback Kids, this channel, sounds like a young guy. Okay. I'm happy that someone like this is actually kind of waking up to seeing what it is. Okay. We need more people to come awake to this stuff. Okay. Because it's okay to have certain things in the game, but it's getting outrageous on how many things they have in this game or in the games.
Of money with the most aggressive and manipulative monetization people will accept. Games aren't made with developers whose intent is to make you happy and give you a great experience. They're created by corporations whose sole focus is on making the most amount of money and fast. And this leads right into an—
Oh, this is another thing before he even continues. I love that people that defend the companies, right? First of all, they think that when they make a game like Apex Legends, that it costs them $200 million like a Last of Us or God of War type of thing, right? And they're like, well, they got to keep the studio lights on. Meanwhile, you hear them making one sale of microtransactions outsold, one cosmetic in a game, sold more than an entire game. And then FIFA is making billions of dollars, which outdid Last of Us, Red Dead, Skyrim, and Cyberpunk combined, okay? But they're like, well, they got to keep the lights on. It's expensive. They got to keep the lights on. You're delusional. All of you are delusional if you believe that because you didn't buy a microtransaction, okay, they can't make it. Maybe on a free-to-play game, but I'm pretty sure Genshin Impact is doing quite well in their design, okay? But when a game comes out and it's $70, $100, $125 for the deluxe edition and then the 3-day early access or whatever, they've made all their money from the game they created. Do you think for 1 second that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 didn't make a profit off of their shortest game ever at full price and early access where they got $100? And you don't think that people bought like Nicki Minaj from the actual game itself or whatever else is in there? Come on, bro. Wake up. Wake up.
Another reason why gaming isn't fun anymore. Games are released broken or simply rushed out. Giving developers the ability to patch a game post-release as a live service is really an incredible development that a lot of people overlook nowadays. This means that developers can actually communicate with the community and make updates with balance changes and generally clean up the game to how it was intended to be played. You now have the luxury as a developer to fix, make adjustments, and even sometimes
You're going to have to fix.
Make drastic changes post-launch with this amazing availability of live service support. And you may be asking yourself, well, these are all great things, right? Well, not entirely. The thing is, it starts to get into a real gray area when using this live service support model as an excuse throughout the game's development to fix problems later on. There's
look at
a very poor
the Oracle we just read, Immortals of Aveum. Oh, well, we're fixing the stuff. Game's not ready. I don't care what game. Whatever game you have, that's the best game in the world. If it comes out and there's bugs, broke, unfinished, it's not ready for prime time. They didn't make the game, so they shouldn't sell the game. When you're done making the game, then you can sell the game.
Habit that's been built around gaming development. Developers now crutch on the opportunity to fix a game after it's been launched, rather than taking the time needed to produce the best quality possible game. I'm not saying that before this revolution, games were released perfectly. Developers just knew that...
Well, I want to rewind that. That dude was up on the high rope there.
I'm not saying that...
Like, he's on a table that's floating in the midair. There's like 3 tables up there.
Before this revolution,
and then he jumps
games
off.
were released perfectly. Developers just knew that once it was shipped, it was over. The job was done. It was baked on those CDs and it was being shipped. so they absolutely had to do their best to check every corner to make sure the game wasn't full of glitches or bugs. This ship it off and fix it later way of thinking in modern gaming has ruined so many massive title releases as of late. Diablo 2 was released, and yeah, it needed the Lord of Destruction expansion, but it was a stable game nonetheless. Diablo 3 and 4? Bug-ridden disasters, and they both had launches with error codes and game-breaking bugs all over the place.
And at that point, when people buy a game, when you spend money on something, majority of the population tries to justify it to themselves, right? Well, I bought a game for $100. Well, it's broken, buggy. Well, I had fun. That is not the point. The point is that you bought a game that was broke, and now you're trying to justify it to yourself that, well, it's okay because I bought it broke as long as I feel like I got my money's worth. But what it's saying to the industry itself is we're selling them broken games, and we sold millions of copies. Tens of millions of copies. And they're like, we don't need to finish a game. High five, everybody. We sold a game that's not complete, and we made our money back. Why would they make a game that's complete when they can send it out, and by the time, because it moves so fast, there's another game waiting in the wings. You buy this game, you play this game, you're like, I'm okay with it. It was broken, buggy. I'm just going to go play this other game now until they fix this game. And you justify it to yourself. Instead of, don't buy the game at launch and let them sweat and go, oh shit, maybe we should make a full game.
Cyberpunk 2077 was one of the biggest disappointments of all time on release and was quite literally unplayable to the point where Sony actually pulled it from the PlayStation Store and was offering full refunds.
When this was happening, they sold 12 or 13 million copies. No, they sold 8 million copies pre-launch, right? Before day one. And everyone got their copy. These came out, article after article, PlayStation's pulling it from the store, and they still sold 5 million more copies when people knew it was broke, buggy, and unfinished.
BioWare's Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem games were released, and they both had disappointing launches, being polluted with bugs, broken ports with major FPS drops, and just horrifying cutscenes that rarely worked properly. No Man's Sky wasn't a technical disaster at launch, but it failed miserably at living up to fan.
This is the exception. This is now the exception to what games are. As good, or I should say as bad as No Man's Sky was when it came out, and how good it is now, everyone looks at No Man's Sky and compares it. Can we have that No Man's Sky moment?
Expectations, to the point where developers lied or exaggerated about many of the features the game would launch with. The reason why this is such a gray area is that developers nowadays release games half-promised or just simply broken. Without these live service updates, these current games wouldn't even exist today. Cyberpunk recently just came out with an expansion that's absolutely killing it right now. Diablo 4 should be playable in a few years' time, and No Man's Sky has made an incredible comeback and is easily one of the best space exploration games today. My point is, why should we as the player suffer by spending $70 on a video game release that is lacking half of the features promised, completely broken and full of bugs, or just games that are boring and simply...
Yeah, you gotta remember, right? No Man's Sky, when it came out, was supposed to be a multiplayer game, right? It was a multiplayer game, and remind you, it was a PlayStation exclusive, okay? Not until it broke the PlayStation exclusive where it went to the full systems did they actually fix it and put multiplayer inside the game. They actually had to put stickers on the box, right? People make fun of Redfall because they had to put the stickers on the box to make it where it wasn't 60 frames per second. It was only 30 frames per second, okay? But everyone mysteriously forgets that PlayStation had to put stickers on the box to make No Man's Sky a single-player game with no multiplayer.
Disappointing to play. Why should we have to wait multiple years for games to be enjoyable and make a comeback like No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk 2077? A video game bought by players should never feel like they are rolling the dice to see if it's even in a workable state. The gaming industry nowadays is similar to the film industry. Developers care about making their game as flashy and beautiful as possible on the outside without digging deep to make sure the game is solid with good gameplay loops and creative story. And this is why so many people are stuck in this same loop. They will buy a brand new game, get bored of it within less than a week's time, and go right back to what they were playing.
Welcome to the consumers of 2023. No Man's Sky is not a first party. Didn't say it was, L. I said it had an exclusive with PlayStation when it came out.
Before. This is exactly why we go back to those games of...
Here it comes. L's coming in. I'm a PlayStation player. I gotta protect it. Shields up. Right? Didn't say anything. Didn't say anything about being exclusive first-party title. I said they had an exclusive with... Because they put money into No Man's Sky. They literally paid them to make No Man's Sky and launch it the way they did.
The good old
I know
days.
PlayStation can't do anything wrong.
And believe me, the industry has noticed, and they are taking advantage of that now, because all we ever get nowadays are remakes and remasters. The gaming industry has always followed certain trends to what was successful. The success of World of Warcraft sparked the MMO revolution, where countless MMOs were released with a subscription-based model. League of Legends' success caused new MOBAs to be constantly released. Overwatch encouraged hero-based FPS shooters to come out. Fortnite revolutionized battle royales. Developers and shareholders always keep track of...
Can we also look at that Fortnite also revolutionized how to make a shitty game for Save the World before it did Battle Royale? Now they kind of just shoved that underneath, right? How not to make a game, and then how to make a comeback.
Of what's succeeding in the industry. The truth...
Yeah, L, I brought up PlayStation because it's facts. I know it's hard to believe, but PlayStation paid No Man's Sky for exclusivity and helped fund the game that came out broke, buggy, unfinished. And not until after the exclusivity broke did they actually fix the game to what it is. These are facts.
of the matter is, certain game genres are just not as profitable as others. And what I mean by that is that they can't implement all of their grubby little microtransaction systems inside of them. The sad thing is, there's actually a lot of great things that come out of re-releasing a game. Remakes are a great way to bring modern gamers the opportunity to play the games that you once fell in love with when you were younger. Developers can even add on to their old project to feel a lot more modern and give a fresh experience.
I don't think remakes are the way. Remasters are the way, not remakes.
After playing Red Dead Redemption 2 recently, I was actually intrigued to go play Red Dead Revolver, which was released back in 2004. And I gotta tell you, it was pretty difficult playing something that looked like this. And a great example is Diablo 2 Resurrected. This relaunch completely resparked the community and has been a major success ever since its re-release. The big problem with remasters and re-releases comes in when companies try to sell you their old games over and over again rather than coming up with something new. With Skyrim being re-released 9 different times, it's become a running joke in the community. Skyrim's Legendary Edition, Skyrim VR, Skyrim Special Edition, Skyrim Remastered,
Skyrim.
and modded. At this point, it just feels like they're trying to tug on our heartstrings and
Who's doing that now? Let's see. If it's not Skyrim, it's Last of Us. Last of Us 2.
make money off of nostalgia without
Skyrim waited a decade. Last of Us waited 12 months.
even doing anything properly. Warcraft 3 Reforged was launched with HD graphics, but the game was simply broken and missing beloved features that the original game had.
The only difference between Reforged and
Yeah, the Skyrim edition.
Classic is this button right here, nothing else. Anything anyone else tells you is a lie, anything Blizzard tells you is a lie.
GTA, the definitive edition, used an AI upscaler to re-release the game and had an insane amount of visual bugs. Silent Hill, the HD edition, came out with even more bugs than the original release back then and took out the game's trademark fog inside of Silent Hill, which left the game
Last of Us 2 does deserve a remaster 12 months after it came out, Travis? Really? Why don't they just wait a year and then release the game as is now?
feeling way worse than the original. Activision even remastered Modern Warfare and added microtransactions into a
I mean, what's the difference? Cyberpunk waited 3 years to fix their game. Last of Us 2 could have waited and then released the game as it did.
game that
Doesn't. Sorry.
never even had them in the first place.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
Can I... Side note. One of the best characters Tom Cruise has ever done. Ever done.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face! I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker. I will massacre you. I will fuck you up.
In the past, it was incredibly rare to see remasters back on old consoles like the Xbox, PlayStation, GameCube, or even PlayStation 2, and that's because their main focus was to create a brand new game. It seems as if everything is about money. Why should a company take risks on coming up with new characters?
Yeah, why should a game company take risks to make a game? You know, why should the bakery down the street open up a bakery and take the risk of opening a bakery up in that area? Why should the guy who opens up a mechanic shop take a risk about opening a mechanic shop and seeing if he gets customers, right? Why should the gaming company take a risk?
Stories, systems, and super fun endgame loops that people enjoy when they simply can just slap a coat of paint on what was once loved, save hundreds of millions, and make profit. The sad thing is that we know it's possible to make a great game. While major game studios continue to copy each other's ideas with their blockbuster titles, we're starting to see the rise of indie developers bringing something unique and refreshing to the table. Unburdened by corporate constraints and always having to fill in a financial agenda, they actually have the freedom to experiment with new ideas, gameplay mechanics, and art styles.
I have an idea. Why don't the companies stop going, hey, let's make a $200 million game and start bringing it back down to the roots of, why don't we try to get a game that's like 50 million, AAA game, 75 mil, right? And start a new IP, not at the intent of being like an Immortals of Aveum, right? Where I don't even know how much that was, right? Probably over 100 mil, easy, right? But why don't they make a smaller game, sort of like the movies? Look at the movies industry, right? The Marvels, $325 million budget, okay? After being delayed and reshoots and all this stuff. And this weekend, it made a whopping $10 million. On a combined total of like 116 million or something like that, okay? Yet a movie that comes out that costs $50 million and then goes and makes $200 million is profitable. But no, they got to make all the money. Video games is no different. They're doing the exact same thing, right? They're passing the buck to us. Well, we spent $200 million on this game, and, you know, we have to keep the lights on. We have to charge microtransactions instead of just making a game. 50 mil gets the intern devs, or it gets you less really skilled devs. When I work on a film, when I work on a production, I'm way more than an intern, right? And that's why when it's a union shoot, there's maybe 10 people that are union and they get paid the big bucks, and everybody else that's working their way up at the industry gets paid a lot less, so you can control the budget. I know it's crazy.
This results in games that push boundaries and cater to specific interests or communities within gaming. Games like Minecraft, The Darkest Dungeon, Limbo, Hades, Amnesia, all beloved indie titles. Even the highly anticipated Ashes of Creation MMO is being developed and published by indie developers. And while the success of Baldur's Gate 3 is amazing while being a AAA game, the game's primary developers were an independent studio. It is passionate developers looking to make a stand against this money-hungry way of gaming nowadays. And in my opinion, indie games will undoubtedly play an increasingly vital role in shaping the future of video game entertainment. Now, so far, we've spoken about a wide variety of different topics.
This is a good video. It's a good video by the Comeback Kids.
What has made games great? The rise of monetization and how it's been implemented. Game releases being broken or simply rushed out. The only thing being done now are remakes and remasters, and there practically being no originality in the industry. And while being true, these are all very big problems, there's still one major problem that we haven't discussed. A problem so massive and deadly that you don't even know it's there. A problem that's like a silent blade in the night. The problem being you, the player.
Yeah, no, I've called this out for years.
Players. Believe it or not, we are to blame as well. With the revolution of the internet coming into play, it has heavily impacted.
This is exactly why I don't make. This is exactly one of the reasons I don't make how-to videos of like where to find this, where to do that, where to go do. Like I try not to ruin anything for anybody.
the gaming industry. Even before a game is released nowadays, there are hundreds of videos and websites out there displaying everything there is to know inside of the game. Buying a game at GameStop, bringing it home, and exploring something you've never seen is gone. That feeling of longing into a new MMORPG for the first time and being flooded with discovery and exploration is not going to come back. It's because every game you play nowadays has no real life to it.
No, because the marketing team, okay, the bigwigs, the suits, the marketing team ruins games for everybody. And that's marketing team from people in the bigs that hand out codes to content creators and content creators that get it early access, and then they make reviews and stuff like that. And then they tell you every little nook and cranny of what's happening in that game. And day one it comes out, and you can go look up these things and constantly just get all the information, and it ruins it. It desensitizes you. It ruins everything about gaming.
Because months and weeks before the game is ever even released, content creators are shoving gameplay guides, reviews, tips and tricks, and how to get overpowered within the first hour of playing the game down your throat. And it's without a doubt detrimental to a first-time player experience. We, as the players, have become so worried about the destination and have...
Right, you don't even play the game. You're trying to level up so fast. What's the best way to get to the end game fast? And then go, well, there's nothing in the end game.
Completely forgotten about the journey. Back in 2004, leveling up in classic World of Warcraft was an epic event that took countless weeks and sometimes months to reach max level. It was truly incredible discovering everything there was out there. Endless creatures to fight, dungeons to explore, professions to level up. It was a whole new world that you've never seen. When Classic re-released back in 2019, brand new players were running the same dungeons over and over again to get to max level as quickly as possible. The reason being is because that was the meta. The game quickly started to become only about being the top 1% in a game 15 years old.
Crazy.
What used to be about playing a game to have fun, roleplay, and make great memories now became trying to play at the highest level to emulate your favorite streamer and content creator. And don't get confused, speedrunning in video games is a very popular activity that many people find enjoyable.
It's also a
Being
very
the
small
best you
niche.
can is definitely something to strive for and achieve. But it's becoming more and more common to do so at the cost of your own fun. Things like tier lists, DPS meters, speed clearing, rankings, and leaderboards all heavily influence players in selecting what's the best rather than what they find the most fun.
Exactly. We talked about this. We talked about this when we played Lost Ark. We talked about this when we talk about metas, right? Well, all these we have 6 classes to pick from, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, there's really only one class to use, and if you're not using this class, then there's no reason to do it, right? This is exactly the same thing if you go back to even Destiny. Well, if you don't have a Galahorn, you can't come in. So it's not about using all these other weapons. It's about you have to have this weapon to do this thing. If you don't have this thing, then you can't play with us.
The truth is that it's human nature to always try and be the best that you can be. And with unlimited information out there at the tap of your fingertips, why wouldn't you be playing the most effective way possible? Because if you don't, other people will.
And this also goes into people when they buy their way through the game. It's like you pay $70 for the game, and then you pay to speed yourself through the game, and then it's like then you're done playing the game. So you pay $140 to get through the game as fast as possible to put it down so you can bitch about the game. Okay.
So now all of that brings us to the present. So what now do you think is the cause of why gaming isn't fun anymore? Is it because we make it about being the best? Is it because everything you need to know about a game is already discovered before the game is even out? Is it because there's no buy a game, get the full game experience because there are things like battle passes, skins, and loot crates implemented? Is it because games are not released properly due to live service allowing developers to fix it all later and them being complacent? Is it because there's no
I'm going to rewind that again. I'm going to rewind that whole piece right there.
best? Is it because everything you need to know about a game is already discovered before the game is even out?
Yes.
Is it because there's no buy a game, get the full game experience because there are things like battle passes, skins, and loot crates implemented? Is it because games are not released properly due to live service allowing developers to fix it all later and them being complacent? Is it because there's no creativity and new generational games being released as they're too risky, expensive, and doesn't fit the corporate monetization agenda? Or is it simply the fact that it's all of it combined and it's just an industry in decline from corruption? I'm not here stating that
I agree. The last part he just said, it's all of those things is why it is what it is. But someone will come in and be like, well, I'm having fun. You could still have fun in the old way. Just saying. You could still have fun the old way.
That every game out there is bad. I'm stating that it's very hard to have faith in an industry that every single time I play a new game or make content on one, I feel like I'm rolling the dice on $70, whether it's going to be broken or a full-on cash grab. Always throughout my life, I've used gaming as an escape to get out of the craziness of what is going on. But when gaming turns into nothing but chores and extra monetization being shoved in my face, most of the time it feels worse than life itself. And it's the sad truth no one wants to talk about. What do you think about the state of modern gaming today? What do you think is the main reason gaming has changed over the last 20 years? What was the last good game you remember playing? Let us know in the comments section.
A couple, actually, this year. I think it's a couple this year. A good game that I played this year was Hogwarts Legacy. I love Hogwarts Legacy. I love the fact that I explored that game inside and out, and I never looked up anything, and I just enjoyed playing the game. Right? I love that I played Starfield this year and never looked up anything. And me and Sarge, week after week, would come on the podcast and he'd say, did you find this yet? I'd be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I love that fact that I did that.
Below. If you haven't already, check out our recent documentary on the fall of...
This is a good video. This is a really good video. I'm going to give him a like. We have his link down below as well, the Comeback Kids. This is a good video. Lower that up a little bit. This was an exceptional year. This was a fluke year because of all the stuff that was delayed and pushed back. This was a fluke year. This is not going to be the standard, Water. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 was another fantastic game. Never looked up anything. I only had 11 hours into it still. 11 and a half hours into it. But I absolutely love it. RoboCop. Another one. There's a bunch of games, man. Yeah, Jedi Survivor. Right? Yeah, Jedi Survivor had its issues, though. Broken, buggy a little bit, right? Stabilization-wise. Hogwarts was pretty solid. At least for me, it was... I fell through the map once, like the first half hour in the game. And then I purposely did it again to see if it was that spot that was missing, which it was. I never went back to see if they fixed it. But other than that, never had any issues with Hogwarts Legacy. A lot of the games, though, man, a lot of the games that come out broke, buggy, unfinished. This is what my channel's about, right? My channel's not about shitting on PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. I shit on all of them because I am not aligned with any company, right? I'm a gamer. I want my games to come out not broke, not buggy, not unfinished, okay? I want games that come out that are complete. I don't want a game 6, 10, 12, 18 months later and someone go, oh, well, it's a good game now. Like, I don't want that. I want to pay my hard-earned money up front, and I want the game to work day one. I know, I'm crazy, right? I'm crazy. My current love is like Dragon Garden. I don't even know what that is. What's Dragon Garden? Let's look it up. Oh, Like a Dragon? That one? Yeah, I've never played any of those. Go on, Duplos. Oh, to answer your question before, Travis, yeah, we talked about the update of DC Universe Online, the graphic update that's coming out in December sometime. The real question is, will Star Wars Outlaws give players what it wants and then still bitch? What do they want? I mean, I just want a good Star Wars story. I hope with a character like that in Outlaws, she doesn't become like a Force-sensitive Jedi user, because that just convolutes more stuff in the already convoluted Disney Star Wars that they've done. Oh, yeah, I saw Young Yeah. Yeah, his voice acting. I mean, it is a little funny. It is a little funny that he gave shit to Chris Pratt, right? And I haven't looked too much into it, you know, good for him for getting jobs and whatnot. But I do find it funny, him giving shit to a voice actor that says, well, it just sounds like Chris Pratt. And then he comes out with a game that just sounds like Young Yeah. I mean, you can't get any more ironic than that. So, this is why I don't make fun of actual people. We talk about company and entities. Travis says he's actually worse than Megan Fox somehow. Well, Megan Fox is actually really fun to hang out with. I met her when I was younger, and we actually met her at a strip club, and that's where that story will end. She's a blast to hang out with. This is before she was acting, or at least became a known actress. She wasn't at the strip club working the strip club, but she was at the strip club. No, she wasn't working there, Travis. She was a patron. That's the real stripper X? No. No. I've landed some 10s before, Water, but, you know, nothing like Megan Fox, I guess, at that time. So as I ask, where do they go after Brainiac? I don't know, man. That's the problem with Suicide Squad. What do they do? And this was the question I had. Me and Sarge talked about it. I put a clip up there. Well, not a clip. It's a 20-minute long video just breaking out the Suicide Squad we have a conversation about. What do they do after the game? Right? After the campaign, what do they do? Maybe Darkseid? Does that go too... Does that go too big? You know what I'm talking about? Like, my problem with the MCU is because after Thanos, where do you go from there? Right? You can't go from Thanos back down to, like, mid-tier, street-level guys. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if you can go from Brainiac, big skull in the sky, taking over the entire planet or the whole city, and then where you going, right? You gotta go up. Yeah, there's a lot of problems, right? And then they toss stuff in the MCU universe where they still haven't been answered. The Celestial just hanging out of the planet now. Nobody asks any questions, right? Nobody's talking about that, right? So what do they do in the DC universe? It would be interesting. It'd be interesting because think about this, right? All of a sudden, like, you kill Superman, right? You kill Superman. Now in that realm, Superman doesn't exist anymore, right? So then what happens after that? That'd be interesting to look at, right? Superman's not protecting Metropolis anymore. He's not protecting the world anymore. He's not protecting anybody anymore. It'd be interesting to see where the story goes with that. Because then if Darkseid attacks, how are you going to beat him, right? Guys, I got to show you this because this is just, I told you it was going to be bad. I told you it was going to be bad. Right? This is a huge, right? This is the Marvels, right? So the Marvels so far domestically made 65 mil. Okay? 65 mil. It opened at 46, right? And within a week's time, it went from 46 to 65. Okay? But last weekend, or this past weekend, it literally made 2.8 million on Friday, 4.4 on Saturday, and 3 million on Sunday. Okay? It made just over 10 million. Just over 10 million for this weekend, which the Trolls band together, okay, made more money than the Marvels. We're talking MCU Disney here. The Trolls made more money on Saturday than the Marvels made all weekend. If this is not like whoop, whoop, like start freaking out, Disney. Start freaking out. Okay. Even this movie, the Hunger Games, not doing very hot. Okay, this movie's dead as well. Next week, it won't surpass what it did this weekend. Obviously, not even close. It made 44 million. Okay, next weekend it'll make half that. But the Marvels, man, it is bad news for Disney. How to kill a franchise in less than a decade. Just 5 years ago, we're talking like the highest tier, breaking multi-billions to break. I mean, Marvel's breaking records left and right. The Marvels is breaking records left and right. Okay. It broke as the lowest opening weekend. It broke the lowest Monday after. It broke the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and second weekend ever. And I'm not shocked. The only reason that Love and Thunder did well is because it was the last Thor. The only reason that Black Panther 2 did decent is because, well, Chadwick Boseman died and people wanted to go see it and see what it was. The only reason that Doctor Strange 2 did well is because it was coming off the high of Spider-Man. Okay? These are the reasons. Guardians of the Galaxy did very well because it's the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy one. But those new ones that came out, Shang-Chi, Eternals, even Ant-Man and the Quantumania, the third one of that, nope, bombed. Goodbye. Sorry, Travis. Love and blunder. Love and blunder. It still made money. Still made money. Yeah, but it's breaking records, though. That's right. It's breaking records. I mean, if they're going to talk about the records that they break all the time when they're good, you got to talk about the bad records, too, right, Water? You got to talk about the bad records. Sorry about that. My son just hit his head, so I had to make sure he was okay. I was going to go see the new Ant-Man in theaters, and I saw the reviews and got a refund. It's just making money, period. The goal shouldn't you be getting an award. Yeah, no, it's just about making a good movie. Make a movie, sell a movie. Make a game, sell a game. Make an album, sell an album. Right? Like, if you look, not all movies, we talked about this. We've talked about this many times. Okay? Not all movies are going to be hits. Right? Not all books are going to be bestsellers. Not all television shows are going to be Grammy Award winning. Okay? There's movies and films and video games that can be good or be okay, but a lot of them are going to be crap. Okay? Hence why studios make multiple movies. Hence why publishers in video games make multiple games published that year. Okay? They have like 7, 10 games, all right, that come out because 7 of those are going to bomb, are not going to make money for them. 3 of them are going to make money. 2 of them are going to make okay money, and 1 of them is going to make blockbuster hit. It's a numbers game, right? If you go up to 10 people and ask them out, okay, you're going to get rejected majority of the time. How would you stop the bleeding? Well, you got to start hiring directors that are not like first timers. You have to bring in people that are writers that are not early, getting their legs while they're working on stuff like this. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars and then profitable billions of dollars on these franchises, and they're bringing people in that don't know what they're doing. They got to hire the right people. There's a huge difference when you hire people, okay? Even the special effects people that they're hiring. They're making so many things. They're getting bottom rung people to do the special effects, okay? That's what it is. You have to spend the money on the people that make the games good, to make the movies good, okay? You don't have to make all the people, but you got to put the right people in the right positions to get your thing to do good, okay? If you got a $100 million budget, and most of that budget's going to your director and going to your cinematographer and going to your special effects, so be it. I'm getting my legs working on Marvel. Before it was anybody wanted to work on Marvel. Now they're trying to get people, and they're like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. And Feige is trying to do everything himself, right? He's doing the previews and doing all the stuff where they basically already have all the action stuff done before it even gets to the director, and the director doesn't do anything. Feige and Kennedy don't get pushed back with newbies, is what they're hoping. Oh, for sure, Z, because they can tell them what to do, and the people that are working on the project don't want to step on anyone's toes, because if they do, they might not work in the business again. That's the way the business works. Eclipse says, I don't know. I'm just getting tired of the superhero stuff in general. I mean, Loki was good, and it took me forever to watch that because I didn't want to watch. Are you talking about season 2, Eclipse, or 1? Yeah, but even with Favreau, Travis, one person can't save the entire... In the amount of stuff that's coming out, one person can't save it, right? One person can't save it. Even Filoni, okay? He makes really good animated stuff. I don't think he's good. The episodes that he had for live action, I didn't like. And that's okay. Like, he makes good animated stuff, and I think that's where he should stick with. But he wants to go to live action, and I don't think it comes across as good live action of what his stories are in the animated stuff. Loki season 2 done well, trash story. No, but I can imagine they can hire good people. Yeah, but still, the amount of frequency it's coming out with, it's hard. At this point, I don't think they're going to get a lot of people coming to anything. They're like, I don't know. The Marvels is going to hurt the brand big time. The Marvels is going to hurt the big time. And now they're pushing the Young Avengers. We'll see what happens with Sony, with their Spider-Verse that's happening now, with Madam Web. That trailer looked horrible. Okay? I watched that trailer with the sound after last week when I watched it without showing it. With no sound, I just watched the visuals. And man, they have problems. Raven Storm says, I thought the Marvels was good. You were one of the here you go. One of the 65 million domestically or 161 worldwide that thought so, which is not going to make money. So the majority of the population disagrees, which is fine, because you and me and anybody else can like what they want, but the movie's not going to make it. It's going to lose almost $500 million because it cost them $300 million, and they need to make about $600 million to break even, and they're going to make maybe 190, maybe 200 mil. And that's a perfect example, right, Raven? You can like a bad game, you can like a bad movie, you could think it's good, and that's fine. But the majority of the population of the people that are interested in watching did not watch it, and that movie's going to fail. And if it's because the movie was bad, or if it was leading up to it, they were just tired of Disney's crap or Marvel's crap or whatever. I stopped watching movies. The last movie I saw in theaters for Marvel was Doctor Strange 2. Okay? And after I watched all the shows and all the movies leading up to Doctor Strange 2, I went, no more. I'm done. Not going to do it anymore. They lost me as a Marvel fan to go to the theaters and watch it. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. It's all since Stan Lee passed away. I think it was before Stan Lee passed away. They were setting the groundwork up. Yeah, because he passed in what, 2017, 2018, 2018. And when Endgame came out, I mean it's close. It's close. Because Infinity War came out and Endgame came out, and in between was Marvel's. But leading up to that, you could start seeing a little bit of a change, right? Because they announced all the stuff they were making, and once he died, they basically had the floodgates open to do what they wanted, right? Because I guarantee you, Stan Lee wouldn't have let this happen. Rose says no, it's failing because we're all sexist and misogynistic. Well, we read the stats, Rose, that the most people that went to go watch it, I think it was like 65% were men. So, unless those are gay men, they're still men. And it's because the women didn't go out and see it. So, that's ironic, isn't it? Because Brie Larson said she doesn't want 40-year-old men watching her stuff. I know it was for the time, whatever that movie was called. Unless they're gay men and then still men. 30 gets canceled. So be it. I mean, it's going to be really hard to cancel someone that doesn't give a shit. I mean, at this point, I think if someone did a canceling campaign, it could only be better for myself, right? Because then I would be at least seen. I like how could anyone say current MCU is bad because James Gunn stuff was too good? I mean, James Gunn stuff was good for Guardians, yeah. Exactly, Rose. Exactly. Well, this 40-year-old man didn't give a shit. Well, that's called the Streisand effect, Travis. That's the Streisand effect. I feel like tugging on nostalgia only gets you so far. Yeah, you could have a nostalgia thing, but if you use that nostalgia, look at Disney with their, right? They don't want to use the old because they can't touch the original, right? They can't touch 4, 5, and 6. So they're trying to do everything they can to change 4, 5, and 6 to what they want after the fact. But they didn't want to use Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, or Princess Leia, right? But yet they use the nostalgia to bait us in. Nostalgia bait us in to go, oh, look, these guys are going to be in the new movies. And then when they came out, they completely shit over those characters. I mean, how do you make a trilogy and not take the 3 people and put them in a scene together? Amazing. It's amazing. They could fuck that up so bad. Right. They use the person to bring you in, but then change it, subvert your expectations, right? This is what they do with they did it with Doctor Who. They did it with the He-Man. They did it with, right? They take a brand that you liked as a child, as an older person, and look at what they're doing, the remakes or remasters or whatever they're doing in television shows, in video games, in books, right? And they just don't care. They're there to make money, but the people that won't give them the money are the people that were the fans originally, that they don't like what's being tossed. And because they're not paying for the stuff that they thought they would pay for because, you know, that's why they used it, they're like, well, you're sexist, racist, misogynistic, and whatever else. Right? Imagine making something that, like, Disney is so stupid. All you had to do was take the story. They chose to make a continuation from 4, 5, and 6, right? They made 7, 8, and 9. That wasn't a mistake. That was by design. They made their billions of dollars, right? But in the making of that, they ruined the entire franchise. Not only did they ruin that franchise, right? So much so that no one would be dead, okay, buying the toys. They don't even make toys anymore. All the toys, if you go to Target or Walmart or wherever else where you look at toys now, look on the shelves. Let me know if you see any current day, besides the stuff from Mando, you'll see reissued figures from the older figures that they remake, republish them. Because the only way they're going to sell toys is to the old people that go, oh, that's pretty cool, Luke Skywalker, I'm gonna buy that, right? But you see all the stuff on the shelves that stay there that nobody wants because nobody gives a shit. Same with Marvel. Same with Marvel. All the stuff before Endgame sells. Anything after Endgame, that stuff sits on the shelves for years. And the marketing tells you, right? They're like, oh, it's the best-selling movie. It's the #1 movie in the box office. It's the #1 selling book. Yeah, for like this week. Because the people that are interested in it, it's such a small, minute people. They buy that thing. They make it popular for that 2 days. But then after that, it crashes down. And then we really see who's interested. The Kylo Ren character was awesome until he removed his helmet. Short-lived. Basic training, his marriage, a daughter that hates him, but he dies in the first scene. What's that from? Oh, I see. I missed the top thing, what you said. No idea. Hear me out. Days of the Empire, we follow the life of a stormtrooper who died in the first scene. I got it. I see it. You know how hyped we were when we saw the stormtrooper of Finn when he stood up and we didn't know who he was in that first trailer? We were like, oh man, this is going to be interesting. Because as soon as you saw that stormtrooper, and then later you see him with the lightsaber, there was two people that you thought in mind, right? Not because we're racist or sexist, because we only saw two black people in Star Wars. So we thought it was either Lando's son, or we thought it was Mace Windu's son or grandson, right? And we're like, oh, this could be good. And then when we saw Rey, we're like, well, that could be Luke's daughter. That could be somebody that we know. Nope, she's nobody. And then she was somebody. You're nobody, but then you become the granddaughter of the most powerful bad guy. Yeah, that makes sense. You're nobody. You're a bunch of from a bunch of drunks. Your parents were nobody. Oh, but your grandfather, he was somebody. But we didn't know that when we said the line that you're nobody in the other movies. So we had to rewrite that to tie you into as the granddaughter because we don't know what we're doing. Yeah, what's the deal with that, Travis? How do you not make Mara Jade inside 789, right? How do you not make it and then make Rey like his daughter or whatever? You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous. Subvert your expectations. I believe, Water, that Finn was supposed to be somebody like that. But they screwed it up so bad. Okay? They screwed it up so bad. Wait, Raven, did you not know that? Well, that's how easy it is. That's how easy she is. She could just change her name. Oh, do you think Luke and Leia? No. Luke and Mara Jade were a couple. And then they had kids. Not Luke and Leia. This is not from we're not from the back country over here. You stopped at 8, huh? You didn't see 9? Smart guy. Stopping at 8 was probably a good choice. I can't etch that out of my brain. Horses on a ship and whatnot. Well, my apologies. Smart woman then. You stopped at 8. I wish I stopped at 8. But I had to see it through. And completely ruined it for me. Travis asked me the other day in Discord. He said, "What's your favorite 80s action movie?" And I was like, "I can't pick." I was like, "There's way too many. There's way too many movies from the 80s." And then if you add the 90s to it, way too many. Sounds like the Destiny player. You gotta play Final Shape to see it through. Nope. I'm done. But that's the whole point, Travis, right? They could have taken Mara Jade, who is a badass woman character, and none of us would have blinked an eye about, right? I mean, even the little that we saw Rey from 7, we were like, "Oh, is this Luke Skywalker's daughter? Where's Mara Jade? Does he know that he had a daughter?" Right? Like, there's all this speculation and stuff that was going on, right? It would have been awesome. It would have been okay if they said that she was overpowered the way she was, right? And kind of just did the training and trial and tribulations and stuff like that, because then we would have known that she was part of Luke and part of Mara, who are both super powerful Jedi, and then she would have what she has. Then we would have been like okay with it. But just some random person that has no skill, that's not on the bloodline of anybody, and then all of a sudden they switch it and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's from the bloodline of Palpatine." It's like, okay. We don't have a problem with powerful women, right? We have a problem that you made a powerful woman with no explanation and you have no backstory for the person. Shai was like, "Hell, I kept waiting for Mara. And when she never showed up, I looked at my friend in just a calm voice and said, I must kill Abram." I don't know what they do going forward. They're going to make that Rey movie. I don't know how you fix it. I don't think you can fix it. The problem is, no matter what happens, everything leads to 7, 8, 9. Yeah, actually, Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite, right? I like Empire Strikes Back, Revenge of the Sith, New Hope, right? Those are my of just the original 1 through 6. Revenge of the Sith is a great film. Such an emotional point when Anakin and Obi-Wan fight, which is now diminished by the Obi-Wan series. I don't know, Raven, did you watch the Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus? Any movie involving Darth Jar Jar is my favorite. No, I have Disney Plus sitting and waiting. Trust me when I say this, Raven. Just like you haven't watched 9, do not watch Obi-Wan. Do not watch Obi-Wan. It's got the nostalgia memorberries in there, but that's it. It's hollow. It turned Star Wars into shambles because of what they did in that show. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird, Travis, when they do stuff like that. It's so like they had such a thing, like, you know about Obi-Wan, right? Obi-Wan is what his job was, to protect Luke, right? We know that Leia's safe, protecting Luke because he's the chosen one. And yet, that gets thrown out the window at 100 miles an hour. The Clone Wars, Filoni does a fantastic job in the Clone Wars. I love the fact that I was like, how are they gonna include Ahsoka? Where was she during that time frame? And it makes total sense, okay, of where she is between episodes 2 and 3, and then where she was in 3, because all the Clone Wars takes place between 2 and 3, and she leaves before 3, and then he turns during 3. It makes so much sense, and you're like, oh, this is done good. But now what they've done to Ahsoka, she went from one of my favorite characters written inside Star Wars, but now they're relying so much on her that like everything that happened in Star Wars is because of her, which is just strange. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible, Jesse. I got to wrap this up. It's almost 1 o'clock. I appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out with us. This is what we do usually do. Monday through Thursdays from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern, or 1 o'clock, really. We have conversations. I talk about a couple news stories, give you my thoughts. We have back and forth in chat. It's very relaxed, hang out. It's like you're in my house type of thing. We're all having a conversation. And what's it called? If you like that, come on back. We have episodes this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. No Thursday edition this week in the morning show, and no Generation X Gaming podcast this week either. You can go watch the last broadcasts of Generation X Gaming on this channel. You can also watch the Suicide Squad section that I put out as a separate video as an upload today. Go check that out as well. If you like it here, make sure you hit that like button. If you like it even more, hit the subscribe button, join our community. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. I do appreciate you for coming out and hanging out with us today. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure what we're going to play yet. We might play, could be Battlefield, could be Battlefront, could be more of the Lord of the Rings, Moria. It could be whatever. Tonight and tomorrow night, we play 8 p.m. Eastern. We play some video games. This week, Wednesday night, no game this week. And the rest of the week, we're off for Thanksgiving. So appreciate it very much. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for being part of the community. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.